Get everybody, you walking with your boy Czar, all rights reserved. Now, a lot of commenters said that Geneva admitted she's not pregnant, so now we're going to take to a new perspective. Let's say that Geneva said she's not pregnant. What if the baby mama called the hit? So, in this scenario, let's think about it. She was incredibly beat up, incredibly assaulted, and I also want to give a shout out to Notification gang, everybody that's above and within the team. Um, Definitely, if you haven't hit the bell, hit subscribe, rock with your boys are all rights reserved. Now, part of what I'm saying with this situation, it has a lot to do with what if the baby mother was involved in the situation. So what if there was a situation that occurred that left Tentacion deceased and it was revenge for what he did to her? Now, in this situation, we'd have to look at several different parties. One of the first parties would be those related to her, who was within her family, blood relation, even friends related. The next thing would be somebody who was fighting for her love. So someone who was infatuated with her, that was linked to people who had the means to commit these type of crimes. The third party would be if she was affiliated with a stronger team that may have had authority that were involved, that may have had predisposed knowledge of what would happen to him, but did not act appropriately on purpose because of what he did to this woman. Now, there's a lot of different, let's say, vibes moving around this whole situation, but one thing we can't deny is that there was some type of alleged assault on this man's life. Now, the fact that this is the case, we have to examine all the parties involved. It's not just the parties that are directly linked or a part of that. It would be parties that knew of where he was going and what he was doing. Again, we don't even know who the passenger was. And part of what I was thinking of is that not only about the money, but if it was a passenger of some type of relation that may have been connected to Geneva or may have been her herself, it would make a lot of sense why different information didn't come out. Thus why the witness named Victor and the newscaster were unfamiliar to us in a lot of different ways. Understanding that Tentacion, his story did not include some type of passenger or the information was not done correctly, we have to only presume that authorities had some type of issue gaining information or understanding the outcome of the situation. Why would that? Because we see many investigations in which they clearly put someone in a heat seat, and I'm not worried about the music playing. YouTube already knows. It doesn't matter what's playing around me. People do stuff on purpose. I ain't worried about them. You know, as long as they don't stop the car and pull up, you're good. So my thing about this is, if we're in this type of situation and we're looking at it objectively, what if she would have been involved and it's not exactly those suspects? Because the suspects thought it was a robbery, but someone who was fighting for her infatuation would have made sure he was deceased after attacking. That just would have been a sensible understanding from the perspective we're taking. Another perspective to look at is the fact that if it was authorities involved, who would have been involved with not showing up on time, allowing this to happen, but also having predisposed knowledge and not acting appropriately on it. Now, the third thing I want to say is, what if she's the orchestrator? Because we know hateful baby mothers is one of the most influential parts of, let's say, getting someone, because I've seen the wildest baby mothers who were more dangerous than any thug or anybody that had the means to do something because of influence. See, influence is the key here. Influence is everything that's around a superstar. Not many people want to go up and harm a superstar because of retaliation and things, but if this did have to do with someone who was of some relevance, that had to do with anything with anything, then we can make sure that she may have had something to do with that situation objectively. And if she did not, then, and if she knew of it, she's even worse, because in her situation, she didn't reach out to try and prevent things from happening. I'm really not worried about other people. Again, weirdos. I don't play the game. I ain't got time for it. Say something to me. You know what I mean? Like, what's the problem? So, looking forward at this case, if she did have any prior knowledge, would she have had any influence on Riva Motorsports? They claim to be family of this man. Again, we don't have him walking out. So why would the passenger even be relevant to the situation? Was this some type of setup, even on the 4 suspects? Let's presume these 4 suspects weren't the masterminds of this case and there was a 5th person. It would be easy for me to not only play puppeteer and puppet master to these 4 suspects, but to also play the hand at Riva Motorsports where security camera goes missing, where I'm able to set up a scene that they come to. And the setup part would make sense why authorities didn't arrive right away, because they would have been called at a certain point in time. And again, it didn't look like we saw the damage we should have. So this would even make it that Tentacion was not, let's say, in a position to even be declaimed deceased. We didn't even see shots. So we didn't see nothing involved with any story we're reading, yet we're running with it. That's the part that I don't clearly understand. Objectively, I didn't even see the damage that they spoke of. Again, there's makeup artists and many different factors that could have made the damage visible, could have made it a clear conception, but that wasn't even utilized to prevent anything or present a picture. When you have this many elements not matching up, it does lead to speculation and individuals talking about it like I. And that's my thing. So hit that notification button. I have another series that's going to come, and we're going to step away from using the name XxTentacion, and it's going to be basically circumstantial evidence, and then it's going to be DNA evidence, which honestly we don't have any directly connected. That's my thing. There needs to be something that directly links me to some type of situation or crime that they're trying to link me to a crime scene. That's my point. If there's nothing that can always put me in the hot seat and can press me towards a certain goal to say, look, he's the one who's part of this, he's the fault of this, there's no way to say I am of this crime. That is why I told these guys to lawyer up. Now, flashing the money and different things, these guys may have taken the money, but we want to see what suspect is going to admit to the shooting, because we saw no shooting damage on the pictures we've seen to date. We've just been going with what was said, and that's part of what I want to say. Now, in court, they could present different pictures and photos we never seen. We don't know. But again, we still have to check and see if it's edited. These things are easily edited by top-level graphic artists, which we know authorities have in touch to. They network with people who are masters of this sort of, let's say, art. So using this art, I can make the scenario of the crime scene whatever I need it to be. And that's why a lawyer is vital. And that's why I told these guys not to run to face your accusers, because preemptively I saw no evidence that would predict me to say one of these guys did something this way or that way. So even if you have reasonable doubt, as we've spoken about in videos before, you have the objectivity to stand your ground and say, look, this didn't happen. This was not the case. Now, I know a lot of different things are going on, dealing with people mentioning Boot Gang, also dealing with Treyway and Tekashi's manager and different things of that sort. But when are we going to see some conclusive evidence to this case that has been presented for months now? So where's the conclusive evidence other than video of someone flashing money, other than a preemptive first on the scene video and a news broadcast by pseudo news, also dealing with a witness who has to this date remains yet to speak directly on it. We still have a 4th suspect missing in the case who hasn't been found yet. They're on a manhunt currently to find him using all their means. And at this time, you can very much so consider that they are using the zigzag method. Not only the zigzag method, but they're using special task force. Now, if this man is missing for, let's say, nearly another 2 weeks to a month, you can presume that they're going to call in the heavy hitters, which are rogue officials. People who literally take their time out to scout you out. And like I told you, these guys aren't going to play around. They're officials. Most of them have military backgrounds, military experience, and have done tours before. So they know how to look for foreign criminals. where, let's say in a third world country, information is limited. So they have the means to encounter this individual. And like I said, being that he would be on the run, there wouldn't be no games in this type of play. And you can almost consider the fact that they're not going to be playing. And when I say they're not going to be playing, they're going to be ready to use whatever means is utilized to their discretion to handle the situation. Because their mindset is not going to be on whether this guy is innocent or guilty. They're going to say, is he reaching for his belt or not? And if he is reaching for his belt, they're going to light him up. That's just how it's going to be. They're going to make sure that they lay him down because he's been on the run. So I can't presume if you're guilty or innocent. So if I can't presume guilt or innocence, that means by all means, if you're not willing to come with me to prove your innocence in front of your accusers, I have to be your accuser and your judge on the spot. And they have that right, and that means through lawful interpretation. So we have to be very careful when we're going forward on how we're analyzing this situation and get that there's going to be many variables and many unclear aspects that need to be understood. Not only understood, but made clear. If they're not made clear, there's going to be violence out the situation from experts. And that's what most criminals don't get. You can be the greatest hitter of all time, but when you're facing someone that's done it for a living, someone that's done it in a legal manner, and that's lived their life doing it in a third world country or at war in some type of manner and way, it's a different type of fight. It's a different type of battle, and you're dealing with a different type of animal. These people do not play. That is why I do these videos, to educate you guys on laws and things, and I have different things that are going to help you to clarify these type of viewpoints that I hand to you. Again, shout the notification gang, hit that bell, rock with your boy, all rights reserved.